Hi everybody, Titus Mejia with Waterman Real Estate.
Jamie Shields with Capital Mortgage Group.
Thanks for tuning in today. We are coming at you recorded live in Fair Oaks, California. That means that you're probably going to hear some roosters in the background. Be aware, we are not filming this in Kentucky on a farm
On
somewhere.
a farm somewhere.
We are in Fair Oaks, and for those of you who know this area, there are a lot of chickens and roosters running around.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so thank you guys for joining. This is a recorded version of our first time home buyer seminar. We had a seminar last weekend and we had a ton of people request that we send this out on video. We had about 20 people here in person, so there's a lot of traction and there's so many misconceptions and myths about buying a home.
Absolutely.
That's why we started doing these seminars. We purely want to educate the public, get them resources and tools. We don't try and sell anybody, but the fact that we have strategies and have information to share, most people see the way we do things and want to work with us. So again, this is strictly to educate you. Buying a home is probably the biggest financial decision that you're going to make in your lifetime.
Sure.
So kudos to you for coming to this event or watching us on this video, because so many people leave it up to chance and coincidence, and to me that makes no logical sense at all. If you're going to be buying a home and making the biggest purchase of your life, why would you leave it up to random knowledge or events? So many people that I talk to say, oh yeah, my cousin's uncle is a realtor, or my friend from work, they do loans on the side. And that's who you're going to use to make the biggest financial decision of your life. Makes no sense to me. So Jamie and I, we have partnered strategically. We vetted other people in the industry, and what we do together is provide our buyers with a consolidated and streamlined path and guideline to home ownership. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in depth, but there is a very specific strategy behind what we do and why we do it, and why we're able to provide such a value for buyers when the majority of people and buyers out there that you will be competing with do not do it this way. So the value add that we give is we can set you up for success and set you up to compete and be a leg or a mile ahead, a leg up and a mile ahead of all the other buyers out there. And that means that you're going to be able to get your offer accepted. You're going to be able to get things in a more streamlined and cost-effective manner. Maybe have access to programs, down payment assistance, all those things that other people just don't know because they don't do their homework.
It's definitely a strategy that's been proven successful for multiple clients that we've helped in the past.
Yep, and that's why we're here talking to you and spreading the word. So we're going to try and make this video as concise as possible. We know that you don't want to sit down and watch a 30-minute video. So we're going to try and do this as quickly as possible. What that means, though, is that our in-person live seminar is a lot more in-depth. We allow for question and answers. We tell everybody during our live seminars to raise a hand or interrupt us, because you're watching this on a video. We don't have that ability, so these are more conceptual and kind of more, what's the word?
High overview, probably.
Yeah.
We're not going to get to go as many details as we would like to share with you if you were sitting here with us today.
Exactly. But don't be discouraged. You can contact us, and we tell everybody. You can check out our reviews. Every single person that makes a review says, oh my gosh, this amazing, the seminar was amazing, and we were able to sit down with them and talk about our specific plan. Well, the reason for that is we can provide guidelines, but there's so many programs out there and so many different ways to structure things. Trying to fit you with a general program, that's not how we do it. We take your custom financial picture, goals, and find the right program for you, and we don't do it backwards. That's the way that we strategize. So again, without getting too far in depth, at the end of this seminar, our goal is for you to be confident in what we have to offer, have some misconceptions kind of answered or understood, and you reach out to us and we can provide you with that roadmap specifically catered for you. So we're going to hop in. Right above me on the top of the screen, there's going to be a link to the slideshow. That's the slideshow that we use to present in our seminars. We may or may not deviate a little bit from that today, but that's what you can follow along with. And then below is our contact information. There might come a point in time in this seminar or this video where you're like, oh my gosh, that's the question that I was looking for, or I need more answers. Yeah, call us, text us, email us. Our contact information is going to be at the bottom. So with that, we're going to hop right in. Let's start really quickly with some common myths and maybe things that are misunderstood. So really quick, I'm going to start with you, Jamie. What's the difference between a mortgage banker and a mortgage broker, and what are you?
Yeah, so a mortgage banker works for your banks, your big banks, the ones that you typically do your checking and savings with. A mortgage broker is KMG is mortgage brokers, and we work with all of those banks plus others. So when you walk into your bank where you do your checking at, they have a handful of products that they can deal with. But when you come into KMG, we work with that bank and 60 others. So we have so many more options available to you. And that also provides us with more programs, better options, better financing. I mean, the whole picture for you in the end is better overall.
Yep. For me, a couple of misconceptions. Down payment assistance programs. People always ask me, hey, can I buy a house with zero down? Of course, that's a lender finance question, but
Yep.
Are there programs that provide down payment assistance?
Absolutely.
How many are there, would you say?
6 or 7 to choose from.
Okay. And all of them, I'm assuming, have a little bit different criteria.
Absolutely.
Okay. There are even loan types, not even programs for down payment assistance. There are loan types that cover your down payment. USDA, VA, there's various things like that.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that a lot of my buyers ask me about. Secondly, people commonly associate down payment assistance with first-time buyers or a first-time buyer program. What's a first-time buyer?
First-time home buyer is actually somebody who hasn't owned a home in the last 3 years.
3 years?
Yep.
Okay, so a lot of people don't understand, or they might be under a wrong impression that a first-time buyer is somebody that's never owned a home. Not true. So if you don't know the definition of what a first-time buyer is, then that might be confusing too. Lastly, for me as a realtor, my commission is paid by the seller. So that means I work for the buyer for free, and a lot of people don't understand that when they're buying a new home, that they can use a realtor. I can go in and negotiate for upgrades, for price reductions, all of that stuff, regardless of what you are told. That is true. So if you're thinking about buying a new home, call me first. We're gonna hop in now to the slideshow. We're gonna go over this, like I said, kind of at like a 30,000 foot view so that we don't spend too much time. If you have any questions, reach out to us directly.
Give you more information that way.
So we talked a little bit about the pitfalls, streamlining the process. Jamie is gonna talk really quick, just provide a couple of tips and some insight on down payment assistance programs.
Yeah, so there's a couple different options, lots of different programs, but 2 different real routes that we would take with down payment assistance. So we have a grant program or grant programs that are available, and what that means is those funds are forgiven. The one specifically I'm going to talk about today, if you live in the home for 3 years and do not refinance, that amount is forgiven. So basically they're going to pay all your down payment costs and some of your closing costs potentially for free.
Wow.
It goes away after 3 years. So that's our grant program. And then the other home buyer assistance program is more of a silent lien. So what that means is they're going to lend you the money to cover your down payment. They're going to lend you the money to cover your closing costs and not charge you for it until the end of your loan, however that may end. Whether it ends when you sell your home, whether it ends when you refinance your home, or 30 years from now when you pay off your home loan.
Awesome. Jamie, what do you suggest and why if somebody says, hey, when should I apply for a loan?
I always suggest that people apply right away, not because I want to get you on a loan and I don't want you to buy a house for me, but because a lot of people qualify and they don't even know it. Whether they qualify because they have just enough set aside or whether they qualify because of these home buyer programs. And on the flip side, if they have any debt or credit issues, we can work through that with them and get them ready to buy a home. But you're not going to know until you submit the application.
That's a great point. So I would suggest and consult the same exact thing. There's no reason why you wouldn't apply if you're serious, because Jamie is the one that's going to be assessing everything when you get to the pre-approval stage anyways. So you thinking that you can do it on your own, you're going to wait. So many people say, oh, I'm not ready to buy yet. Well, why? Well, my credit's not up to where it needs to be. Well, how do you know? There's programs that you can get into with a 500.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have loan programs that are available for credit scores as low as 500.
And there's all various options, right?
Yeah, they from 500 all the way up.
Great. So that's why we say, hey, apply now. Not even, like Jamie said, to get you into a loan, but so we know your baseline and what areas we need to improve.
Our goal is to set a plan for you. We want to make sure you're putting on you on the right path for you and your personal financial situation.
We customize that plan, and that's our value that we provide to all of our clients. Rather than trying to jam you into a program that may or may not be in your best interest, that's why you apply now. We figure out where the gaps are, and we customize a plan with the down payment assistance as our target, or with your credit to a certain improvement level as our target, or whatever it may be. So that's how we strategize things. So moving on, we have tips. I have some very specific insight and information and knowledge on how to get your credit up. That's something that I kind of enjoy, and that's another reason why you sit down with Jamie. Jamie, can you talk about, just very briefly, FICO scores and how you pull those?
Yeah, so we have a credit reporting company that pulls all 3 bureaus for your credit report. But when they review your finances and your credit situation, they're not looking at it the same as when you're getting a credit card or when you're getting an auto loan. It's looked at very differently to purchase a home. And so when I get that, pull that information, I get that information, I can review it. And so when we do have somebody who doesn't have the most ideal credit, we also have scenarios that we can run to say, well, what if we did this or what if we did that, to determine what's needed to get you to where you need to be if you want to qualify for these home buyer programs and can't go the 500 route.
Exactly. And a lot of people say, oh, well, my credit score is this. Well, if you're looking on Credit Karma, chances are they're not using the same lens, and it's not going to match up with the way that a home loan company or mortgage bank
definitely different algorithms that they're using.
Exactly. So the point is, don't just leave it up to what you think. Let the professionals, let us manage that for you and give you a specific plan, because it's a higher guarantee of the probable outcome that's going to be in your favor. So that's the reason why. Moving on to the next slide. On slide number 7, you're going to see the loan application checklist. There's various things that Jamie's going to need from you, and the reason why is because she's looking through everything with a fine-tooth comb to figure out what gaps there are, what we need to fill, so we can get you to that target, to that path, and customize the guidelines for you there.
Absolutely.
Next, slide number 8, pre-qualification versus pre-approval. Before, Jamie, you talk about that real quick, I'm just going to say pre-approval is a stronger way to present your offer to a seller. So our job as partners and as your advisors is to get you to the point where you're coming in and making an offer on a home with the strongest backing as possible. That way, if there's 4 or 5 other offers, and maybe those offers are higher priced than yours, your offer gets accepted because of the guarantee that it will close and close on time. So Jamie, really, really quickly, can you talk about the difference between a pre-qual versus a pre-approval?
Yeah, definitely. So our pre-qual is our high overview. Basically, you're going to give me your numbers. You're going to tell me what your debt is, what your income is, what you think your credit score is. And with those pieces of information, I can say, well, this is what I think you qualify for. And it's just that. This is what you think you make, and this is what I think you qualify for, pre-qualification. But when we're doing a pre-approval, it's much more detailed. You're going to provide me with your bank statements, your taxes, your W-2s, your pay stubs, and I'm going to look at everything with a fine-tooth comb and calculate the maximum amount of income that I can, because there's lots of different ways to calculate that income. And then I even submit it to an underwriter to have the underwriter review it. So that way, everything's been reviewed, everything's been double-checked, and we're ready to go when you do get an offer accepted. And when you tell an agent that when you're submitting an offer, you've got a lot more negotiation power, and that's where TIES comes in.
Yep. So let's jump in really quick to now you've met with us, it's been a month or two, you've got your credit up, Jamie has all your documentation, the underwriter has seen all of your information, and boom, you got that pre-approval. What's next? So I meet with you, I go over your goals, I go over how long you want to stay in the property, your family size, if you plan on having any more kids, all that stuff factors into buying a home and what type of home and where. I get all that information, and then I start on the home hunt. So I'm looking on the MLS. I have a lot of access to other properties, things that aren't even on the market yet. Because of my network and my influence, I have people that contact me and say, hey, I've got a property coming on the market in this neighborhood in 2 weeks. Do you have any buyers? So that is something, again, that most part-time agents or people that aren't as active or involved don't have access to those types of things. So whatever I can do to help you put your best foot forward and give you a competitive edge, that's my goal. So we talk about what areas, all the amenities, then we go out and view homes in person, and once you find a home that you like in person, we submit an offer. Slide number 11 talks about what the offer looks like. You can read about that. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. The one thing I would point out, the offer is not just a purchase price. It's also the length that Jamie would need or your lender would need to close your loan. There's other timelines inside that offer in terms of how many days that we're going to need to inspect the home, and there's things like that that aren't directly correlated to the price. So if we can shorten those time frames to the seller, that is more of a picture that tells them that we are confident and that we have the ability to close quicker. And again, that goes to provide you with a more competitive offer. Slide number 12 is once your offer gets accepted, you have a deposit. A deposit is a portion of your down payment. A deposit is what, once the offer gets accepted, what you give to the title company. And at that point in time, we start ordering the inspections and the appraisal. And then once all of those things get cleared, then we schedule a time for you to sign documents. Jamie releases the closing disclosures, and we go on from there. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us directly, and